What is up, everybody? Welcome into this Friday episode of Flippin' Bats, where we got a lot of fun stuff to talk about today, which includes one of my favorite segments, things that make you go, We also have top 5 postseason sleeper teams. We have Immaculate Grid. We have Tale of the Tape. A lot of good stuff coming at you today. Let's get to it.
Fly ball onto the track, at the wall, it's gone! Home run!
Turns on a ball, deep right field, and gone!
What a game, what a moment.
Happy Friday, my friends. I am joined by Alex Curry and Alex.
Ben.
What?
I just said hi, Ben.
Oh, I thought you said again. I was like, yes, again. Alex is here.
Gosh darn it, again? Every day? Here we go again.
Yeah, it's Friday. We're here. You got any big weekend plans?
Lots of sports.
Lots of sports.
Yeah, football, baseball, radio show, our show. It's that time of year where you have a date with your couch majority of days.
Yeah.
Over the weekend.
Yeah.
You don't want to miss anything.
Yep.
But I like
fair.
that. It's fun.
A lot of baseball, a lot of football, golf at some point. It's not on.
Yeah.
I'll
No,
go.
I know.
Okay.
I know. That's who
Standard.
you are.
Yeah.
It's who you are. But that's okay. But let's get into, you mentioned off the top of the show, we are just weeks away now from the postseason, which is crazy to think about and say. And there's some pretty good wild card races, a couple division races that are going to come down to these final weeks. So we're going to talk about the top 5 postseason sleepers. We're going to go through 5 to 1 that you think could get in, might get in.
No, not
Don't
into the
sleep on 'em.
playoffs. It's like could do damage when they are
Could do
in.
damage when they're in the playoffs.
Don't sleep on them when they're in the playoffs.
Don't sleep on. Okay.
So these might not all end up making the playoffs.
Yeah.
I doubt there probably will be one that misses. But
Definitely.
if they get in, these are the sleepers to watch.
Okay, well, let's start with number 5. We talked about them a lot yesterday. They've been dealing with a lot of unfortunate injuries, but kind of picking up and going back on a little bit of a hot streak, the Texas Rangers.
Yeah, the Rangers are now they're in trouble without Max.
Yes.
But that offense is really good. And if Nate Eovaldi can be an ace of a staff kind of guy and throwing 100 in the postseason with nasty off-speed stuff, and I just think this team with the offense they have built, Semien and Seager at the top of that lineup, hopefully getting Josh Young, and I just think if they get in with those superstars, Max really hurts. That does hurt.
It does.
But Jordan Montgomery been throwing well. Nate Eovaldi, can he be good? Watch out for the Rangers if they get in.
And they're currently in that second wild card spot, and I think the AL West is going to be a division that kind of comes down to that final couple weeks of the season.
Yep.
Let's move on to number 4. Now, this was a team that had a really hot start to the beginning of the season, kind of went through a lull, and now they're back up playing good baseball, the Tampa Bay Rays.
I just think a lot of people sleeping on the Rays.
Well, yeah. They were great and then not.
Right. And they also haven't ever really, besides that 2020 season, they haven't ever really been able to, they're a great regular season team and have struggled in the playoffs. And I think people would be surprised if you look up and see how close they are to leading the AL East.
Yeah.
When the Orioles have been talked about all year long. Yes, they've had injury after injury after injury to the starting rotation. And yes, they've lost some star players throughout the year. And you look up and they're still putting up wins. This is a team that is able to pitch. They do all the things, all the little things the right way. And it's a team you don't want to play in the postseason.
All right, let's move to number 3. Now, this is a team right now on the outside looking into a wild card spot, the Blue Jays.
Yes, the Blue Jays have, to me, I've talked a lot the last couple of weeks about the blueprint it takes to win in the postseason. Well, they have it. What do the Blue Jays have? They have really good rotation. They have stars in the offense. They have Vladdy Jr., who can be great. They have Bo Bichette. They have a really good offense. George Springer, who's unbelievable in the postseason. Great offense, good stars there, and then a really dominant rotation and a good back into the bullpen closer. That's the blueprint. And if you can have 2 or 3 starters that you can trust to go out and get you wins in the postseason, you're going to be a problem. And I know the Blue Jays right now are kind of flip-flopping between that third and fourth spot.
Yeah.
But if they get in with Kevin Gausman leading that rotation, watch out.
Well, our number 2 is just in above the Blue Jays in the wild card, the Mariners.
Yes, this is a team that I've been talking about a lot. I really like them. They're not playing their best baseball currently in the month of September. But again, if they get in with a rotation of Luis Castillo, Logan Gilbert, and George Kirby, and a bullpen that is just absolutely disgusting, and an offense that has Julio Rodriguez, and if they can get, look, what's going to happen for this team, because the offense as of right now isn't what it needs to be to win the World Series. But if you can have Julio, and if you can have somebody else step up and have a historically good postseason. You know, I look back on a lot of the runs, and remember that Kike Hernandez in the playoffs for Boston when he just went absolutely nuts. Just having somebody step up other than Julio Rodriguez offensively and pair that with the dominant pitching. Mariners, I said it last week, I will say it again. It would not surprise me if the Mariners end up in the World Series.
And this is when, this time of year, especially the last stretch and that beginning of the postseason, when good players become great.
Yep.
And they step up and they become those different makers. Now, our number 1 was kind of the sleeper last season, and they look like they could be it again, the Phillies.
They were the sleeper last year. They're seemingly a sleeper this year solely because they're so far back in the NL East, but they should not be. It should not surprise anyone if the Phillies do it again.
Yep.
Why? Well, because they might be even better than last year. Their offense is certainly better. Trey Turner has really turned it all around, has been great. The pitching, you need Aaron Nola to be what he was last year in the postseason. And that's a big ask. And that's my worry right now with this Phillies team is Aaron Nola and Ranger Suarez going to be able to step up and be what they were in the postseason last year? Because that's the reason they got to the World Series. Not because of the offense that's really good. Obviously, that helps. But it was the pitching. Zack Wheeler, Aaron Nola, Ranger Suarez. You look up at the end of the day, and all 3 of them were dominating in the postseason. They're going to need it again. They still have them all. Craig Kimbrell's been good at the back end of the bullpen. Dominant offense. It should not surprise anybody, Alex, if this team can get back to the World Series. Now, it's just a hard path.
But it's also kind of the perfect timing, right? Because they're once again not first in the division, but they're fighting to get into that wild card spot, which is that energy and that fight that you need towards the end of the season, that you carry that into the playoffs, that kind of give you that extra spark. And now you have a healthy Bryce Harper, a Trey Turner that's finally turned his season around. And as you mentioned, if their pitching can step up, this is going to be a team that's hard to stop.
Yeah, it's just the National League is a harder path. You got the Braves and the Dodgers that are both going to be really good. So that's the harder path to go through in the National League. But if anybody can do it,
Phillies.
It's the Phillies. And that's why they are the only National League team on this list for me that has the potential to take down either the Braves or the Dodgers. So I go Rangers, Rays, Blue Jays, Mariners, Phillies as my top 5 postseason sleepers.
All right, it's time for Ben's favorite game, and I think the baseball world's favorite game, Immaculate Grid. Ben's going to have 90 seconds to guess 9 players. He has gone immaculate twice now. Can he beat his record of getting 9 players in 42 seconds? Only time will tell. Let's get the grid up on the board. We're going to start out by telling you what he's working with here. Then we're going to get 90 seconds on the clock. What do we have? Okay, on the top, we have Tampa Bay, Gold Glove, Hall of Fame. Down the left, you have the Rangers, the Orioles, and San Diego. Are you ready? Let's get 90 seconds on the clock. Go, Ben.
All right, so the 2 accolades, Gold Glove and Hall of Fame. I'll start with those. Rangers, Gold Glove, Adrian Beltre, and Hall of Fame, Ivan Rodriguez. Orioles, Gold Glove, Brooks Robinson. Hall of Fame, Cal Ripken Jr. San Diego, Tony Gwynn for Gold Glove. Hall of Fame, Greg Maddux, Padre legend. Rangers, Rays. Okay. Rangers, Rays. Rangers, Rays. Nelson Cruz. Orioles, Rays. Oh, God.
45 seconds.
Oh, God. Padres, Rays. Blake Snell. Orioles, Rays. Okay, give me a second.
You got 37 seconds to get one player.
Brett Phillips. Let's go.
Yeah? Hey!
My guy, Brett Phillips,
With
for the
25
win.
seconds to spare.
Let's go.
You're doing good under pressure. Yeah? Feeling good?
Not many. What was Brett Phillips' percentage? 8. Okay, not super low. That was pretty good.
No, that's great.
Wow. What
Nice job. Your lowest was Greg Maddux with 4% with the Hall of Fame
Padres. Legend, Greg Maddux.
Oh, that's great.
Oh, man. What an immaculate grid.
Good work.
Thank you.
Good work. Now let's move on to things that make you go, because we got a lot of good stuff this week. A lot. A lot of funny things happen. A lot of weird things happen that made you go, Let's get started with Zack Wheeler. Zack Wheeler saying, what's his name?
Yeah. So the whole Ronald Acuna situation and the Phillies manager, Rob Thompson, and then Zack Wheeler, it all got it's a little chippy.
Spicy.
We might be in store for a great NLDS matchup if we get it. But when Wheeler was discussing the homers he allowed to Olsen and Ozuna, he then said, and then I just hung the curveball to, what's his name? Acuna?
You know who he is.
Of course he knows
know who he is.
It's like the guy. Do you watch Hard Knocks?
Yeah.
Did you watch this year?
I'm not fully caught up.
It was like the first preseason game. Somebody went after Aaron Rodgers and he was like, I don't even know who you are.
Yeah, you
And the other guy was like, I don't even know who you are. And it's like, okay, come on. You do. You
nice
absolutely
comeback.
do.
That's like someone saying, have a nice game. And you go, you too.
Have a nice game.
Shoot, you're not
Enjoy
playing
the
either.
movie. You too.
You too.
Yikes. Yeah. I mean, come on. I mean, I get it. You're frustrated. He gave up the homer. You're frustrated. He danced around the bases and flapped his wings and had fun because nobody likes fun.
It was your fault.
You know who he is.
Yeah.
He's going to win the MVP.
Yes.
You game plan for him every single time you take the mound.
Yeah.
He's the guy you circle.
Yep.
You know who he is.
Yep.
Nobody's believing that. It
was some spicy fun.
Yeah.
I'm here for it.
I am here
as you mentioned, it's going to make a great rivalry series if it happens.
And I also imagine this isn't shade to Zack Wheeler. I imagine this was heavy, just, you guys know I'm throwing shade.
Yeah.
Here's the shade.
Yep.
What was his name? Acuna. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Here for it.
Yep. All right. Our next things that make you go, this one's a little nicer. Pete Crow Armstrong's moment with his mom.
This is just an awesome story.
Yeah.
So Pete Crow Armstrong's mom, Ashley Crow, was an actress in the movie Little Big League, where she played, she is the mom from Little Big League. And now, almost 30 years later, she is the mom to an actual big leaguer in real life, Pete Crow Armstrong, the #1 Cubs prospect. And then right there she is, and there he is at the debut and the hug in the stands, and just a really cool moment. The whole story's awesome with the actress and him. And he was on, I think he said he was on set. No, he's not 30. Never mind. He was talking about the situation though. He wasn't alive yet, so he was not on set. But he was talking about it the other day of how she was in that movie and his dad was doing some acting as well. And just to play the mom in an iconic baseball movie and then be an actual mom of a top prospect 30 years later. Really cool.
Pretty cool. All right. On to our next things that make you go, Brian Hayes tweeting about umpires.
This just pisses me off. Not the tweet.
Yeah.
I've been so fired up about umpires this year and the egos that I think get involved at times. And
just a little bit.
I just don't think there's any accountability. And then Brian Hayes tweeted out this. Some umpires really don't care. A 3-1 call, not even close. I hold him accountable after the game walking off the field, and his response is, well, I gave you a chance to hit a home run. That tells me you don't care at all. No accountability. Bring the ABS, please, which is the challenge system. Completely agree. And that in a nutshell is the problem. It's not missing a call. That stuff happens. But there's no accountability, so these umpires feel like they can make a joke out of people's careers.
Yeah.
It's a 3-1 count. He walks, right? It was a ball. It's called a strike. He brings it up later, and the umpire just laughs it off like, well, I gave you a chance to hit a homer at least. No, that's not how this sport works. There is a plate there that we know how wide it is, and we know when a ball is off the plate, and you need to do your job and know when it's off the plate as well. And when you don't do your job and you get held accountable, well, you never get held accountable. So this is the problem. When somebody does finally hold you accountable that you don't expect, the player that you did it to, then you just make a joke out of it, and essentially a joke out of their career by saying, well, I gave you a chance to hit a homer. No, you took away a chance for me to get on base and raise my on-base percentage and my walk percentage and everything that I work for, and now you're just making a joke of it. Good for Brian Hayes to tweet this out. Really, really good for him. I love that he was doing this because, again, there is no accountability. And I understand the problem, and a lot of people might say, like, there's so many umpires that are so bad. Why can't you just fire them? The umpire union is so strong, and there is a lot going on there that it's not just easy to say, you're fired. Poor performance. You're fired. No. But the problem is there's just no accountability. If they do something, if they get an ego involved, if they throw out a manager and they may have been incorrect, or they make a bad call and a player calls them out, they do not have to stand up at a podium and answer questions, or stand in their locker room and answer questions, because nobody's allowed in their locker room. They can't answer any questions. They can blow a game, they can blow a call and walk right out the stadium and go to dinner and have some drinks and have a lot of fun and not have to worry about, well, we might have just really messed up Brian Hayes, and I feel, I feel bad for him. Nope, none of that. Pisses me off. Good for him for tweeting this.
Yeah. Well, from a big ego to, I think, a crushed ego, this leads us to our next things that make you go, Alec Monoa never reported for his latest AAA assignment.
I don't even know where to begin.
He is dealing with some tough mental stuff right now.
I mean, Alec Monoa, Cy Young contender last year, obviously really bad start to this year, gets sent down to rookie ball, then up to AAA, then back to the big leagues, and then he was again optioned down to AAA. But he never reported to AAA when he was optioned on August 11th because he was upset about the decision. Manoah reportedly has not even been throwing bullpens or side sessions. It's unlikely he'll pitch in a game again this year.
He needs some serious help.
Yikes.
Like, whether it's like a mentor, a mental coach, someone to kind of get his mind right. Because when you hear something like this, obviously he's crushed. You can see that when we saw that when he was actually on the mound underperforming this season. But then to go up and down like he did, going to rookie ball, like, obviously that takes a hit to your ego and your confidence.
Your mentals.
All of your mentals. And when this is your job and you're a professional, you should do everything in your power to surround yourself with things to help you get back to where you need to be. He needs support.
There are so many players that are outspoken about needing to go talk to somebody or going to a sports psychiatrist. John Smoltz himself, when he got that injury and was transitioning to the bullpen and was struggling with everything, he went and talked to somebody to help himself and get him back in the right mindset. And it just feels like Alec Monoa this year was getting roughed up in the big leagues, and it got to him mentally, and then he just let it snowball and is now...
It's a bad look.
This isn't the way to handle it.
It's a bad look.
This isn't. So I don't know. I don't know what's to come.
It's not professional.
They said he might not pitch again this year. I don't know if he's going to pitch for the Blue Jays again.
I don't see it happening after something like this. This is a childish, immature move, and you're showing. Yeah, it's bad. It's not good.
That's all I got.
All right, let's move on to our next things that make you go, Baker Mayfield's comments on stealing signals. I'm a Rangers fan, not an Astros fan.
Yeah, what he was asked about stealing. People thought he was picking up signs from the Vikings defense, and they asked him about it post game. Like, where are you getting their signs? Did you know it was what they were bringing at you? And he said, I'm a Texas Rangers fan, not a Houston Astros fan. To which I'd say, I'm sorry, you're so used to losing and not winning.
I just think it's funny that like the signal stealing is just now it is Astros. Like,
it'll
across any
forever be.
sport, that's just what it's always going to be. Astros or trash cans.
Unnecessary. Actually, I think Baker brings a lot of fun to the game.
He does.
So I'm just, I knew you were going to
be heard about this.
No animosity towards him when I say it just seems like Rangers fan, not an Astros. I'm sorry about that. I am sorry that you are used to losing and not winning.
That he wasn't a cheater. That's cool. All right, let's move on to our next things that
Alex
make you
always
go,
feels the need to add in one last jab and then move on because she does the transitions when she knows damn well that there was a lot going on in the game of baseball and just refuses to admit it.
Where are the receipts? Also, I will continue to always do this because the year that it happened, they did it against my Dodgers in the World Series.
But
so
you don't do this with the Red Sox. There are receipts.
Didn't affect me personally.
How? It was Red Sox Dodgers World Series, and the Red Sox won the World Series, and they were cheating, and there's receipts.
Wasn't.
No.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
We also like don't bring it up. Like it's not like in conversation. If we were talking about it,
you bring
different.
it up.
I do.
Right.
About the Astros.
I don't. I know what was going on around the league.
And the Astros also like affected both of my teams. Because they're in the AL West when I was covering the Angels for 10 years. And then
please. Artie Moreno affected the Angels.
Okay. Let's move on to our final things that make you go, The Phillies congratulated the Braves on their 6th straight NL East title. On the Jumbotron.
I don't like it. I don't. Look, it's because they're division rivals. I get, like, for example, last year, when the Astros had wrapped up, they were all in. They knew where they were going to be playing. They knew what seed they were. The Phillies clinched a wild card spot on the last series of the year in Houston, and the Astros put up on their board, congrats on clinching a wild card spot. This is different, in my opinion. This is your rival doing it on your field, celebrating on your field. I don't like it. I don't like it.
Especially like the chirpy team, like player comments that we're hearing, managers, like everything, like act like you've been there before. What's his name? Like, obviously the team isn't a fan, but the scoreboard person decided they were.
Right. While boos are raining down from your fans to that team, and the players are like giving it right back to them, and then you put up on the score, congrats, Braves, you're the best team in our division.
It's off-brand for Phillies, too. Like, for just Philly fans and, like, Philly culture.
I want to know what was being... I just envision there being, like, a battle in that room of, like, put it, don't put it, don't put it, don't put it. And then somebody's just like, I'm doing it. They shouldn't have done it.
Could have been a Braves fan that works for the Phillies. I'm just speculating.
You're speculating that there's a Braves fan,
maybe
secretly.
Maybe. I mean, when you work for a team,
spy within the Phillies organization,
or just like works for the Phillies and like grew up a Braves fan. Who knows?
Okay.
Who knows?
That feels like a long shot, but we don't know the answer.
Cool. We'll get to the bottom of it.
I wouldn't have done that. That's what I would say.
No. Definitely not. Definitely not. That was a fun series, and we have another fun series coming up this weekend. It is our tale of the tape. We got Dodgers at Mariners. Now, both these teams are going through a little bit of a rough patch right now after a very strong August. Both Dodgers and Mariners have only won one series each in September. Dodgers are in a little better place than the Mariners right now, but I think this is going to be a fun one. We're going to go through, Ben and I are going to pick who has a better offense, defense, managers, starting rotation, and the bullpen, and ultimately who we think is going to win the series this weekend.
Okay.
So, Ben, we're going to get started with you. Which offense you taking?
Dodgers.
Yeah.
Mookie, Freddie.
Yeah.
This one to me isn't close. I don't think there's anybody on the planet. Maybe a Mariners fan. No, Mariners fans would say Dodgers as well.
I know. Yeah.
Maybe Julio would say
He has
it's
to.
us.
He has to. It's me. It's me versus them.
But yeah, it's the Dodgers.
Yeah. I also have the Dodgers. They are one of the best offenses in baseball. They are top 3 in almost every offensive category. And as you mentioned, I'll always bet on Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman when they're healthy, when they're playing well. All right, let's move to defense. Who you got?
Mariners. Julio out in center field has taken leaps and bounds forward to becoming a really, really good defensive center fielder. And he deserves a ton of credit there. J.P. Crawford, Gold Glover at shortstop, fantastic defense there. I really like the Mariners defense. So yeah, I look forward to hearing you bring out the numbers and probably take the Dodgers. Would be
Definitely. I am taking the Dodgers defense. We've talked about this almost every time we've had the Dodgers in this category. When you have a guy like Mookie Betts who can plug and play in multiple positions, guy like Freddie who is just having MVP style season, but numbers wise, Dodgers have better numbers. They have better fielding percentage, better ultimate zone run saved, better run saved by fielding range, and fewer errors committed. So I am going with the Dodgers.
Okay. I noticed you didn't say the defensive rating, which for the Dodgers is minus 4.9 and 20th in baseball.
I'm going to focus on the positives
and the
here.
Mariners defensive rating is 11.5, which is the 8th best in baseball. I might not use the numbers until I need to use them, but I know them. I know them.
Yeah, sure.
I'll take the Mariners.
Let's go to managers.
Okay. I went with Dave Roberts here and the Dodgers. Look, you can't argue with the regular season success over the past decade. And is there, in my opinion, some room for improvement when it comes to his playoff managing?
Yes.
Sure. But Scott's he's getting there every year.
Yeah.
And Scott Service just got there last year. And so to me, I like Scott Service, but it's like, let me see you in the playoffs.
You got to prove it.
Let me see you. Let me see it. And whether I think Dave Roberts pushes the right buttons in October or pushes the emergency button too often doesn't really matter. He's there. And and there's something to be said about the way he gets his team there year in and year out.
Yeah. I also took Dave Roberts, Dodgers, World Series champ, manager of the year, and he's won the National League West every year, but one that he's been the manager of the Dodgers, about to add another one this season. So going with Dodgers. Let's move to starters. Who you got?
Mariners. I think the Mariners have one of the best rotations in baseball. Luis Castillo is one of the best pitchers in baseball. Logan Gilbert is fantastic. George Kirby's been so good all year long. This is why I say if the Mariners can get into the playoffs, they are going to be a problem. And it is because of the top 3 in their rotation that I would put up against pretty much anybody in the game of baseball. And that's why I went Mariners.
So I had that until I looked at the probable matchups, and I went Dodgers starters. I do believe all around the Mariners have a stronger starting rotation, but again, I'm going for this series. I'm going for this matchup. Friday, we have Bobby Miller against George Kirby. Miller's just been better his last handful of games. Kirby obviously had that interesting situations with his comments last weekend. Mentally, I think that can kind of take a hit on someone.
But he's been good.
He's been good. Not bad. But I'll take Miller in that matchup. Saturday, you got Clayton Kershaw against Bryce Miller. I'm going to take Kershaw.
What's Kershaw's been hurt. He hasn't been pitching. He's been struggling when not getting deep into games. Over the course of a career, Kershaw's an all-time great. But in a first start back and
something to prove. Something to prove.
I mean, there's always an angle you can find, but
thank you.
Sure.
Yep. Sunday, though, it's TBD for the Dodgers against Logan Gilbert, and I'm going to take Logan Gilbert no matter who he faces there. So that's the Mariners. Yeah.
Yeah.
2 or 3. Stand strong with your team. That's what you do.
I don't.
It's all right. Let's go to bullpen.
Mariners.
Yeah.
Mariners have a fantastic bullpen. Andres Munoz in the back end. Matt Brash just out there throwing 100 with nasty off-speed stuff. They're just a really good. They're a good bullpen, despite trading away Paul Sewald. They've been really, really good. And yeah, I went with them.
I also went with the Mariners. Stronger, deeper bullpen, better ERA. They actually are tied with the same amount of saves. The better inherited run score percentage, fewer walks. Yeah, there's my one Mariners take. Obviously, I'm taking the Dodgers this series.
Good Lord.
Taking the Dodgers this series. You taking the Mariners?
What a homer.
Yeah, thank you.
What I will say, I know I have 3 on the right side, is the Dodgers offense is exponentially better.
Yeah.
Like if I could put 2 of my faces over there, I would. So screw it. I'll take the Mariners.
Woo!
Go Mariners,
We're
baby.
Back. We're back.
Big series for them.
Both of them,
huge.
yeah.
This is a big
Mariners need
statement
this.
series for them.
Yeah.
They clearly have the better rotation. So, I feel good about it.
Light them up, Dodgers. Light them up.
I do wish they had Luis Castillo going in this.
Yeah.
But I just think I think Bobby Miller and what was the first matchup?
George Kirby.
Yeah, I think
Tonight.
I like them both.
I know.
Kershaw, you don't know. You can't count on you.
You don't know, but I'm going to bet on him.
He might throw 3 innings.
Who knows? I'm going to bet on him. That's what you do when you believe in a team.
Is it?
Yeah.
Because you wouldn't bet me a pinky finger for whoever wins.
No, we're doing
our
tiny
year long.
hands. We're doing tiny hands.
I will take the Mariners because I believe they get in and I believe they can do damage when they are in. And this is going to be a big series for them. If they want to get in, got to win 2 of 3.
Up in Seattle.
Got to win 2 of 3. In Seattle, right?
Go Dodgers.
It's in Seattle?
Yeah.
Weekend series. That place is going to be rocking. That's going to be a fun series for sure. And it was our tale of the tape. And that does it for our Friday episode. Enjoy the weekend, everybody. We got Saturday with Smoltz coming tomorrow. Get it? Saturday. Saturday's tomorrow. So Saturday with Smoltz will be tomorrow. Talk all about the Atlanta Braves and their downtime, their off time, and how they should manage that. Also, George Kirby's comments, which a really interesting conversation with John Smoltz there. And remember, Wednesday was Jackson Holliday, top prospect in the game of baseball, 19 years old, just hit his first AAA homer. Man, what a stud. Go back and listen to that one as well. But until then, enjoy the weekend, everybody. We will be back tomorrow and then Monday. But thank you all for listening to this Friday episode of Flippin' Bats. Make sure you follow, subscribe, wherever you listen to your podcast. And we're also on all social media, including YouTube, where you can watch every single thing we do as well at Flippin' Bats Pod for all of you. But that does it for this Friday episode. Until tomorrow, my friends, this has been another episode of Flippin' Bats.